Hello, thanks for watching. This is Matthew from LoveBudi with the LoveCast. This is the LoveCast dated Sunday, the 22nd of September 2019. Doing it a few days late because ran into some scheduling problems and had some tragedy in the family that we had to deal with getting back on track now. Today we want to talk about the meek. I want to show you a little clip here. This is from Life of Brian by Monty Python.
Yeah, well, what Jesus blatantly fails to appreciate is it's the meek who are the problem.
Yes.
What does he say? He says, what Jesus fails to appreciate is that the meek are the problem. Now, Monty Python, they're full of jokes about everything, right? So they'll make a satire about any situation. And, you know, Jesus says the meek will inherit the earth, right, in the Bible. So according to what Jesus said in the Bible, the meek will inherit the earth. Something funny going on here. What's going on? Well, are the meek the problem? I think the meek are the problem. Let me tell you why. The meek are the problem in this world, but they're also the solution. So here's what we have happening. The world is run by tyrants pretty much. Now, these aren't the smartest people. These aren't the most loving people. These aren't the most well-intentioned people. Not by a long shot. They're none of those things. They're not generous. They're not kind. How do you get to run the world? How do you get to be in charge? Well, if the average person doesn't really know who to elect for their leadership, they'll pick things like smooth talk. They'll fall into fear mongering. They'll get weak and they'll be afraid and they'll say, well, we really need to protect ourselves against those other guys over there. So I guess it makes sense to go over and bomb them before they kill us all, which is absolutely ridiculous when you look at the history of the recent wars in America, especially when these countries that were bombing and invading and murdering or allowing to be murdered, causing to be murdered, the leaders of those other countries that are absolutely no threat and made no threat and can't be any threat. In fact, they could be better allies to us, but maybe they have some resources. Maybe they're enemies of our enemies. Maybe they're enemies of our friends. So maybe one of our countries that we consider to be a friend says, hey, these guys are bad guys, they're a threat to us, and that makes them a threat to you, and so America falls into this trap. Americans in general, people that are too meek, they're too shy. They're not actualized people. These are people that are just kind of following along in life. These are people that accept their lot in life. These are people that haven't found the courage, haven't found the ability, haven't found the gumption, haven't found the way to stand up and say, hey, wait a second, I expect more from life. I want to have a better life for myself. I don't want to be a slave, come home tired, have really generally meaningless life, give most of my time and energy to something that I really don't care about, something that doesn't really matter. Give all my time and energy to a company that I'm working for that is creating poisons, maybe, creating pharmaceuticals that are quite questionable to be healthy, serving industries that are polluting the earth, or industries that are making some people rich, or that are dealing in fantasy and deception. Like so much of the money industry, so much of the financial industry is based upon fantasy and deception when it comes to investments and all of that Wall Street stuff. We don't need that to feed each other. But if we do all that, we don't get to feed each other, and the meek will follow along. The meek don't stand up for a couple of reasons. They don't. The key reason is because their culture, their environment. There's nobody who's teaching them to stand up. What they're learning when they go to school, and most people accept the regimentation of school, the meek will especially accept the regimentation of school. And it kind of makes them into drones too much. They follow too much. They listen to orders. They listen to the commands of the school teacher, and then of the politicians, and then anybody who is in a position of authority. They don't question authority. They don't say, wait a second, that doesn't seem fair, that doesn't seem right. The meek go along. They go along. And a lot of people don't want to be meek. Pretty much everybody who's meek doesn't want to be meek. They don't want to live that kind of unfulfilling life where they're just a sheep following along, being, whatever religion is around them and doing their token ceremonies for that religion, but not really believing any of the dogma that they're being told. They know there's something wrong. Meek people, they're not stupid. They just don't know how to stand up. They're afraid to stand up because they don't know how. They hear horror stories. Wow, if I buck this system, if I stand up to that, I'm going to get in trouble. Look, I just want a peaceful life. I don't want to make waves. I just want to go with the flow. But when you're going with the flow of the governments that are telling you to go over there and kill those guys, or give us all your money, or conform to this, or don't do this, or don't do that, or you have to do this, you have to do that. There's nothing about that that makes for a happy life, a joyful life, a meaningful life. So bucking the trend, standing up and saying, wait a second, I'm mad, I'm not going to take this anymore, I'm going to do something about this, is beyond the reach of your average meek person. But never fear, that's okay. Because with the advent of the internet, with the internet now, more and more people are able to learn what's really going on. So they have kind of more of a stockpile of information, more motivation, more understanding about what's going on, so that they can actually make a move. They can take action. Or at least they can make some conclusions and say, wait a second, there's something wrong with that. I don't know if I buy that story. I don't know if that makes sense to me. I don't know if I want to tolerate thousands of children dying every day from drinking dirty water full of parasites, and then they die of diarrhea. Kids under the age of 5, thousands of them dying every day from that. What kind of an earth is this? Now, the meek stay away from these kind of things. It was like, hey, that's beyond me, and I'm not going to try to change the world. You think you're going to change the world? Maybe they'll come back, they'll say that. They'll say, there's nothing I can do. Look at me. I'm an accountant, or I'm a construction guy. What can I do? Well, there's a lot that all of us can do when we work together. Amazing things happen. Pyramids get built. Skyscrapers get built. Entire, populations get saved. Problems get solved when we work together. But it requires each of us as individuals to say, hey, that's on me. I'm the solution. Not only we, but I. In other words, you have to take personal responsibility. Don't say, oh, we're going to take responsibility together, but by the way, I'm going to take a week off because these guys are going to cover for me. Or I'm too busy because I can. No. As individuals, each of us realize that we need to do what we can, all we can within reason. This isn't about masochism. This isn't about being a martyr, but this is about understanding that problems like global warming, which is really, in the news these days, problems with war in other countries, problems with people dying, kids dying of starvation, problem with diseases not getting solved because people say, well, maybe the pharmaceutical companies are buying up that, we don't know, because a lot of these debates about vaccines, there are a lot of good arguments on both sides of ideas about cures for cancer, what you can do for cancer, whether or not chemotherapy, which is ridiculously expensive. People are making a huge amount of money. If you go to a surgeon and you say, do I need surgery, they're going to find a way to operate on you. I know, because I used to be a computer guy. And people would say, hey, we need a software program. And I was like motivated by money. And I'm like, okay, I'll write a software program for you. No matter how bad they needed it, or no matter what the right solution would have been for them, within reason, yeah, I had integrity and I didn't want to cheat them. But at the same time, I found every opportunity that I could to write software for them, to provide services for them, because that was how I made a living. Well, that's how the pharmaceutical industry works. That's how the healthcare, excuse me, excuse me, just getting over a flu here. That's how the healthcare system works. I mean, these people make a living from this. And what do? Don't make a living, make a loving. But right now, the world is centered around money. And so this really keeps the meek down, because they say, look, I've got to make a living. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. In the meantime, the big corporations, what drives a corporation? What the shareholders say. What do the shareholders say? The people that are on the board and the shareholders, they're going to say, look, make us more money. I bought 100 shares of blah, 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 and now I want to get my dividends higher, or when I sell, I want to make a lot of money when I sell my shares. That's what it's all about. They don't say, be kind to people, feed the hungry. There's not a single board of a for-profit corporation on this planet that is trying to do good in the world as their main objective. Their main objective is to make money. Most people, their main objective is to make a living. Some of us take that too far. Okay, now I make $1,000 a month. I need 5,000. Now I make 5,000. Now I need 10,000 a month. Now I need this. Now I got this car, but it's a used car. I want a new car. Oh, I need a car for my wife now. Oh, we got 2 bedrooms and there's only 2 of us, so we got one as a workout room. But we really, since we ran into some more money, we found an opportunity to blah, 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 and then you get a bigger house. And you should see these houses. And is the government a good example? Have you looked at the White House? Does that look like the house of a public servant? This is an example. Look at the Hollywood stars. So many of the Hollywood stars live these grandiose lifestyles in these huge mansions. Look at where our energy is going. Not only is so much of our time and energy going towards just making a living for those of us that are single moms with 2 kids to feed, but so many of us are greedy too. Instead of putting energy into helping others and working in community, instead we just build our own little empire. Bigger houses, more cars, bigger savings, more grandiose vacations, more filet mignon, whatever it is that we're wasting our money on. And why? Because there's a lack of a sense of community. I understand why people are meek. I get it. There's a reason why people are meek. They're not in an environment where they're taught, hey, we need to do something about these people that are suffering. And by the way, we can. And by the way, here's how. There's not an overall consensus for that. There's not an overall cultural guidance, leadership around that. And that's what we're working at LoveBudi right now. And we're going to be having a LoveAthon coming up October 1st, starting midnight, UTC. Every hour on the hour, I'm going to be doing a drive, both for contributions and for membership, to get the LoveBudi project started. I've been working on this LoveBudi project since 2013 and before. All my life I've been working on the solution. But I started the LoveBudi project, which is the core, which is the way for us to cooperate, for us to work together, for us to empower the meek. And how are we going to empower the meek? Well, we're going to help meek people, 80–90% of us, to understand here's the situation. If you don't already know, we're in trouble. Number 2, here's what we can do about it. Here's what we're going to do about it. And there are people here that are more, maybe more active, maybe more inspired, maybe not so meek, that are going to help you, deal with, well, what am I going to do if I do this or do that? What's going to happen? Should I take action? We'll provide a way for you to do that. And we'll show you how that's going to work. And we're going to work on projects. And it's all going to be based upon not a single agenda, not hating, not criticizing, not trying to get the president impeached, not trying to kill the people that are having abortions, not trying to kill the people that are killing whales or dolphins, but by building love, by sharing love together, and by building community. first virtual community, which we have on, Facebook's got 2 billion members that are regularly posting. And community centers, physical community centers where people can go and they can get help. And they can grow their own food with a greenhouse there, year-round, doesn't matter what climate you're in. Where people can learn, where people can share, where people can get a job, where people can find workers, where people can get basic health care, where people can get clean water. This is all community-based. This should be and needs to be community-based. Free, unlimited internet. These are all very, very, very easy things to do. And we're going to start building community centers in 2020. Next year, we're going to start building these community centers. And this is the place that the meek can go and find out, hey, what the heck's going on? How can I kick in? How can I contribute? Because we don't have that now. And right now, the meek are the problem because the world is a problem that the meek have a hard time dealing with. You know, when somebody comes in and they say, wow, I'm so upset because the waitress here, she gave me the scrambled eggs are burned or whatever, and so the waitress may be kind of a meek person. She might start crying, or she might just say, I'm sorry, sir. She might get angry. She might put up whatever defenses that she can because she's not ready for this. She's got no support. She doesn't have her manager right there or another waitress standing right next to her coaching her, saying, look, here's how to handle an upset customer. It happens sometimes, and this is part of the job, and here's what you do step by step. We're going to walk you through this. The meek don't have that in this world, and they're 80-90% of us. 80-90% of the population. And we've got this tiny percent of people who are saying, let me handle it. And if you don't do my way, you're going to die, or these people are going to come kill you, or whatever baloney they make up to intimidate you, scare you, whatever false dreams that they put in your mind about how, Democrats are the problem, so we're Republicans, or we're going to save the United States, or vice versa, whatever. There are a handful of people that are running this earth because most of us aren't standing up, because most of us can't. Now let's go back to the waitress in the restaurant. Let's pick a waitress who's not so meek. Nothing wrong with being meek, but it sure isn't much of a help with the problems that we have on this planet, that's for sure. And we want to help the meek. We want to help you. Normally, people are good-hearted people, these meek people. They're good-hearted. I've met so many people that are religious, not fanatics, but they're religious devotees. And they really believe in their God or their religion or their dogma. And they never looked beyond that and never really understood that, wow, there's just a real niche here that believes what I'm believing about this. And what it's really done is it's turned us into drones. You know how to handle a population of pests that come in and they're eating all the corn in the cornfields or whatever? You can introduce some males that are fertile, and all the males don't reproduce, right? They have no ability to reproduce. So what you end up doing is just making the entire population impotent, so they're not able to do anything. They're not able to reproduce or take action or cause any more destruction of the crops. Religion a lot of times will do that. Religion will cause people to become a drone. I'm just going to go to church on Sundays. I'm going to pray. What are you doing in your community? Nothing. I've gone to so many church services through the years where there's never any talk about any action in community. Nothing beyond, let's have a Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless people. But let's not go down there and do it. Let's put them on a bus and bring them up here to this white, affluent, safe area. And we're going to give them a meal out of 1,000 that they need every year. There's 365 days in a year, and if you have 3 meals a day, one Thanksgiving dinner doesn't make any difference. And you know what they do? They stand up and they preach to you about their dogma, as if that's going to make a difference. Well, look at the inner city of Chicago, where I recently worked in community projects there. Absolutely no impact whatsoever. There are churches on every block. Why? These churches are businesses. They're there to make money. The guy is selling and peddling hellfire fear and dreams of heaven, but it's not helping anybody at all. People just don't know any better, so they go there and they pray and they sing and they get all excited for an hour every Sunday. Maybe they'll do something nice. They'll be inspired at the best to do something nice, but then the rest of the week they're in hell. The rest of the week they're struggling. The rest of the week they're not working in community. They're not helping each other. They're not getting outside of that box. And this is the biggest problem with the meek is a lot of times they don't know any better. Well, I've been around a little bit. I've been in a lot of religions. I've been in a lot of countries. I've been through a lot of different experiences. And from the age of about 6, I've been looking for these solutions of what's going on and understanding. And I feel like I've got a pretty good hold on what's really going on. And most people, they don't know because they haven't had that luxury. They haven't had the ability to travel and research and get involved like I have. It's been a luxury to me, and it's given me a certain understanding. And I've reached a certain critical mass with my understanding, and that is that love is universal. Love is unlimited, and it's in all of us. But we don't learn to love through dogma, through hate, through condemnation, through criticism, through division. Doesn't have to be religion. It could be sports. I mean, sports guys, especially this is like happens in England all the time. You've got these guys that'll just beat up guys that support the other team. That's what they do. Out in the parking lot, they fight and they beat each other up. That's what they do over sports. Talk about being divisive. What about politics? You should just look and see what some people that are fanatical Democrats will say about Republicans and vice versa, as if their political party is going to make any difference. No. What's going to make the difference? What's going to make the difference? The meek waking up. And what's going to wake up the meek? Understanding about what's going on. They can go to the community center to get that, or they can find that online. 2, an understanding of something that they can do to contribute, and some coaching, some help, so that they can be part of making the world. They've got to believe that this can happen. Most people don't believe this can happen. They become jaded. They become cynical. But once it starts happening, it's like, hey, yeah, I knew that's what we needed to do, and yeah, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be helping out building the new greenhouse. I'm going to be working with a tomato harvest, or I'm going to help build that house for those homeless people, or repair that roof for that old elderly couple. I'm going to be part of that. That's what I've been saying. How many people are going to say that? The people that are saying right now, no, it's not going to be. You got your head in the clouds. You're a dreamer. Well, I don't care what you say, because it's going to happen. So you can lead or you can follow. But participate whatever you do. Because community and love is what's going to make a difference in this world. That's what's going to change everything. And the meek will find a way, because those of us that are more aggressive, those of us people like me that are big mouths, people like me that are just not going to spend our time on anything else but helping to solve these problems and get the ball rolling. We're going to help. We're going to assist. We're going to be there. It's like standing next to the waitress. Hey, when the customer's angry, first of all, accept responsibility. Say, look, I'm really sorry your eggs are burned. The next step is it okay? Can I get you some fresh eggs? Can I get you some new ones? We'll get it right this time, I promise. See if the customer agrees. See if they calm down. If they do, then go ahead and say, we're going to make it a priority. We're going to get your eggs right now. I'm going to tell the cook. And this meek waitress who doesn't have the experience, doesn't have the knowledge, she's not outgoing, she's a shy person, she's a meek person. Now she knows. And if it's not this time, next time, get a little coaching again, get a little help, get a little hand-holding. And then she's going to know, okay, yeah, I can go ahead and I can solve that problem myself. I know what I can do. I can make a difference now. I don't have to just do nothing. I don't have to just be afraid and just give up. No. We want to empower everybody. We want to empower the meek. That's what it's all about, and that's what we're working on, because right now, believe it or not, the meek are the problem. But we're going to solve that. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for your time. This is Matthew from LoveBudi with the LoveCast for today. Hope your day is going wonderfully. Hope your life is filled with love. I love you. Take good care of yourself. Until I see you next time, I'll say bye-bye for now.